Good morning, friends. It is day 3 of a 3-day shoot that I've been working on. I was supposed to vlog from the beginning, but you know what? Life happens. So I am driving while vlogging a little illegally. Don't worry, my eyes are on the road, so I'm not going to be looking at the camera, but I will talk. I forgot my vlogging camera at home, which is par for the course these days. But I'm in a good mood. I cannot say that last weekend was was the same. Last weekend, day 2 out of 3 for this book cover shoot that I'm working on.
In a half mile, keep right at the fork to stay on US 101 South. Follow signs for Los Angeles, Hollywood Freeway.
Excuse my GPS. Was probably the worst day in my photography career. A lot of photographers you know.
Keep right at the fork to stay on US 101 South.
Share with you that we all have nightmares about the worst possible scenarios. And I'm talking about literal nightmares.
Continue
like
for 10 miles.
The night before. Oh crap, I get work. I'm not in the right place. This is why you don't vlog and drive, kids. So literal nightmares the night before an event, 2 weeks before that you have to shoot a wedding, a editorial, whatever. You'll have a dream about, let's see, what's one of mine? Showing up to a wedding. The music starts and I look down and I have no camera. Not only do I not have a camera, I don't know where it is. It just, like, I never had it. It just wasn't there. So that's the kind of nightmare that we have. Last weekend, one of my nightmares came true. So my dear friend Shani was assisting me on this shoot, and I was supposed to be at her house at 8:15. My phone rings Saturday morning. I look at the clock. It is 8:47. My shoot starts at 9 a.m. in downtown LA, and I live deep in the valley. It has happened. I am so late for a shoot that I don't even know what to do with myself. I answer the phone, and my hands are shaking. Like, and I'm just like, Shani, I don't know what happened. I overslept. Panic, blubbering, almost to tears, running around the house aimlessly, like, don't even know where to start. Where are my clothes? Where's my wig? Where's my bag? Just lost. Long story short with that part of it, it ended up being okay because it was day 2 out of 3. And day 1 had happened. I felt a lot more prepared and I was able to set up a lot more quickly. The first person we were going to shoot didn't even start hair and makeup until after I had arrived. So that worked out, even though it was a really, really awful start to the morning, like the worst. So that was part 1. The shoot actually went wonderfully. Really, really, really well. Flash forward to the end of the evening. End of the afternoon. Yeah. Shani and I get in the car. We drive home. Oh, we load up because I had a lot of stuff. We load up. I drop her off at her house along with all the things I've borrowed from her for the shoot. I go to Whole Foods. I'm not feeling well. That's another thing. I wasn't feeling great. I got a couple of wellness shots. Took my time. Drove home. Sat in the car. Was scrolling through the internet, looking at news stories for about a good 20 minutes. And I figure it's time to go in the house. I open up my trunk. Oh, that's weird. My rolling bag's not there. As in my suitcase with all my camera gear. Oh, that's weird. Maybe I put it in the back seat. I open the back seat. No rolling. You guys. My entire camera bag suitcase is not in my car. Yeah. I immediately go into meltdown mode. I call Shani. In tears, bawling, like the worst of the worst has happened. It's fine. Like, this day could... I was telling her on the phone, I'm done. Photography, me, we're through. This day is a sign right here that I don't need to be a photographer anymore, and I'm done. Not only have I lost all my camera gear, a good $15,000 worth of stuff, I don't have any of the amazing photos that we just took at the studio. Yep, all gone. How am I going to call up the client and tell her I've lost all of her photos? If I wanted to recreate this shoot, I'd have to hire, on my own, 3 makeup artists, find days for 6 very busy entrepreneurial women to come back to the studio, and who else? Who knows what else I'd have to pay? I mean, I was sobbing like a baby. So yeah. Okay, I need to pay attention to the road, but I'm going to catch you up in a second on the rest of the story. And we're back. I had to take care of things at the shoot, but I wanted to finish up this story. So, where did I leave off? Crying. Lots of crying. I feel like I'm losing my voice. Okay, so I go into panic mode. Shani and I start thinking about everything we did after we left the shoot, started retracing our steps. Let me see, I feel like I'm losing my voice. We started retracing our steps, and both of us came to the conclusion is that this is what happened. We left the studio, all of our stuff in hand, grabbed my bag, walked out with one of the women who I shot, walked downstairs to the parking lot, started loading up the car, but for whatever reason, I had left my suitcase beside my car in the middle of downtown in a parking lot, an open parking lot, not a parking structure, like a really open lot that had 2 or 3 entrances that were right off the street, so people were walking in and out all the time. So my bag was literally just out in the middle of downtown LA. Not just downtown LA, but it's the part of LA where there happens to be a really large community of homeless people, and a lot of them, for whatever reason, are walking around the area with suitcases. I remember calling my sister in the car. I was crying so hard she could not understand me. She was like, Nicole, you need stop. Like, let's talk this through. You got get it together. Get it together. Shh, get it together. Like, stop crying. Let's talk about this. But it was like one of those deep, guttural, like, like where you can't breathe cries. Like, that's how terrified I was. I can't even explain to you guys. I mean, those of you who are photographers, videographers, makeup artists, whatever, when you lose your kit, it is, I mean, it's your life source, right? So anyways, let me try and wrap this up. Drove back down to downtown LA. Of course, there was traffic, so it took me a good hour when I realized my bag was in the parking lot. There was a point in the car ride where I just got silent. Like, I was just numb, like, resolved. This is how my photography career ends on today. This is gonna be it. So, adios, Nicole Lennox. Got to the parking structure. I still had a little bit of hope. Oh, mind you, Shani and my sister are steady calling the parking lot, trying to go on Google Maps and try and figure out who owns the parking lot, if we can call to see if anything was turned in, if security was around. Like, it was a whole ordeal, y'all. Meanwhile, I'm trying to think about how I can just crash my car into a tree and say, that's the reason why I lost the photos. You know, it wasn't my fault. I crashed into a tree. My mind was all over the place. Anyway, get down to the place. Still hopeful, like maybe, by some chance, I prayed a lot to God. My sister was praying too. Maybe my bag was lodged between 2 cars. Like, it was gonna be there sitting by itself, and I was gonna fall on my knees and praise the Lord. But I got there. The parking attendants were not there anymore. They had gone home for the day. By this time, it's almost 5:30 p.m. The shoot wrapped at 3. 2? It might have been 2 o'clock. So this is how many hours later? Anyways, I sit in the car. I call Shani again. She heard from me a lot that day, and I was just done. I was like, it's not here. I'm about to get out of my car and walk along these streets, and I'm going to scan some of our city's homeless to see if anyone happened to take my bag. Maybe I'll do a little rummaging in the tent cities, because I gotta try. So I was about to park and walk throughout the middle of downtown LA near Skid Row and just see what I could see. Just not thinking, like, what? You single woman, it's about to be nightfall, you just gonna walk up and walk through Skid Row? Like, I didn't care. My life was already on the line with the shoot, so what? Anyways, at the last minute, Shani and I were like, you know what? Maybe you should just go ahead and check the studio, just because it might be there, maybe, who knows. Let's at least clear your mind of the possibility that it's there. Walked to the studio, went up to the 5th floor, which is where it was. The elevator doors open. Guess what's sitting right there, y'all? My bag. It was right there the whole time. It was right there all those hours. So my photography career is not completely ended, but one thing I did learn from that process, and I knew this, like, when you leave a shoot, you take your memory cards out. You put it in your pocket, you put it on you, so that if you get robbed, or if your car gets broken into, or something happens, if there's a fight, whatever, at least you have the photos that you took from that day. I know this. I'm not stupid. I've been doing this for 7 years. What happened? What happened that day? It ain't gonna happen again, I'll tell you that. Guess what I did? The first thing I did when we wrapped today at that photo shoot. You best believe. All right, y'all, let that be a lesson to you if you're a photographer, videographer. I don't know who else this applies to, but think about all possible bad things that could happen and prepare for them. So if you're a photographer, take your card out. As soon as the shoot is done, take it out. Put them in your back pocket. Don't forget them and wash them in the laundry, but take them out. Learn from my mistakes. Don't do what I did. It doesn't end well, ever. All right, y'all. That's it for now.